Well, hey, I'm Brad Sugars and welcome back to another 30X coaching session. Jenny, how are you doing?
Hi, great today. How are you today?
Very well. And in case people didn't realize from your accent all the way from the UK. Now, Jenny, Aspire Accounts, just tell everyone a little bit more about your business so they know once we get into the coaching exactly what it is you do.
So we're an accountancy practice formed from honesty, trust and fun. So we do things with a little bit of a flair, a little bit different, and we're not just about the numbers. We love guaranteeing results, but more than that, we love to guarantee that there's no jargon. It's a really transparent meeting. You go away knowing exactly what you came for with complete relief.
Wow. So an accountant that's fun and makes things simple. It's the exact thing that every business owner needs.
Absolutely.
So the business has been growing and growing well. Now you've got to get into recruit mode and start building the team as well. Tell us a little bit about the challenges you've faced and how you've overcome those over the last year or two.
Some of the challenges that we've had is time, investment, marketing, sales opportunity, how to narrow down the sales funnel and drive the traffic in the right way. So instead of spending time on wasteless tasks, is to try and pick out the ones that are going to be really beneficial for the business and for ourselves as well. So it's been
what made you decide to start your own business? It's always a question I love to start with. How come you decided to start your own business? Was it, oh, dang, I'm out of a job, I need to do something? Or was it, I've always wanted to have my own business? Which way did you come at it?
I always wanted to have my own business. I've never worked in an accountancy practice actually, so I've come through a completely different career path than most accountants, which maybe is a slant on why I'm so different. I've worked in manufacturing companies in the UK and always been quite large manufacturing. So I really wanted to understand and pick out the numbers. So when presenting to a board of directors, the profit and loss for that month, for that quarter, they always ask why. So I always had to know the understanding of where the numbers actually came from. So I spent 20 to 30% of my time with the lads on the shop floor within the manufacturing department to understand why there's been a machine breakdown, what happened, what's the supply chain, what's happening in dispatch, when are things going out to the customers, has it been good, has it been productive, and why the numbers are stating the way that they are at the moment. So on the back of all that, and in all through the investigation side of it, I really enjoy that part of it and getting to know people and chatting and having that communication. And some of the big projects that we delivered within that company saved thousands of pounds, and I didn't see the benefits to the end users properly. So I thought if I start my own business and start putting some of these solutions in place with small businesses, that actually really helps that family and that business grow, and it makes them really successful. I build a great relationship with them. So it's just been a fantastic journey from the start.
Now, here's the question for you. So starting your own business, you've now got to actually run the business as well as help your customers with that. So that's really where we're going to focus in today and start looking at that side of it. So when it comes to building the business, when you look at your leadership and your ability to grow, where is the two areas where you think that, okay, I need to grow in these two areas personally?
Time management. Absolutely, definitely. My diary is getting a little bit better now, so I'm block booking spaces so that there's no gaps. Really trying to stick to that really hard, and I know things can move a little bit. As
the business grows, one of the things you'll find is that you'll find getting yourself a personal assistant or an executive assistant that keeps you on track. I think that's one of the biggest things that I was taught very young, that the moment I got an executive assistant, all of a sudden I became very productive because I stopped doing the 80% of tasks that didn't really achieve much, and I started focusing myself only on the 20% tasks. So I think that's an important aspect. Time management is a misnomer. It's really about self-discipline to do the things that you do first and foremost. So how about with the second area? What do you think would be the second area where you need to really focus in on?
Second area to focus in on. I'd like to look at recruitment as well, because everything's changing with Aspire so fast that we really need to make sure that we've nailed down the recruitment process before we actually go out there and start looking for that perfect person.
You know, when you start out in business, it's pretty easy when you start out because it's just you and you don't actually have to have any of the recruiting skills or any of that sort of thing. So you got to remember with recruiting, it is actually recruiting, not hiring. So you're actually, like a sports team, you're thinking about who can I go and get now? Where can I go and get the best person? Do they already work for someone else? Because in most cases, the best people already have a job. In most cases, you've got to think of your marketing as, how do I actually get to those people that have a job and how do I make that a reality? Because if all you do is find the people that are on the, if I can put it bluntly, that have been fired by other people, then it's hard to get the greatest of people. The greatest of people already have a job and they're already happy. And to recruit them to your team is sort of the first major philosophical thing we have to always remember in recruiting. But let's first of all look at the numbers. The growth rate of the business has been strong, could be stronger. How many new customers per month or per week can you take on?
So our goals this year is 5 new monthly paying clients per month.
Got it. So 5 new clients a month is the goal. How many are you getting currently?
Last month we signed 6 and in February, and in March we've got 5 appointments already set up for the beginning 2 weeks of March. So we're smashing the goals.
Okay. What do you attribute that to? What's getting those leads and what's getting them ready for you?
Again, making sure that the sales process is really nailed in place. So a lot of our marketing is really spent on networking, actually. I think networking is really, really cool. We love it. We really get a lot from doing face-to-face networking. We get a lot of referrals from that perspective as well. People meet us, people like us. We are not just the normal standard typical accountant that's a bit stuck up, can I say?
So let's go backwards. Let's go backwards a couple of steps. You set the goal of 5. Why the goal of 5?
So we looked at the sales projections to try and find out what it is that we want to achieve this year with sales, the turnover, the gross profit, the net profit, and that led us back to the number 5 monthly clients based on the average amount that they're bringing per month.
So how many hours per month of networking is it taking to get those leads to get the 5?
We generally do maybe about, in 1 month, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 hours.
Okay. So here's a question for you. Imagine, now those monthly clients pay how much per month?
On average, it will be £150 per client.
Okay. So what would we need to do so there's 3 areas there I want to focus in on. Imagine we had someone full-time networking. They're working 40 hours a week of networking. How many new leads a week would they be producing?
Yeah, sure. It would be a lot. So, okay, there's my next issue then. Is they're not me.
So they're not you, but you can always hire someone who's even better at it than you.
How do you get the personality across though in the same manner? Because they're not.
So you hire people with personality.
Sure. So yeah, it's a struggling topic. I think this one definitely a found one.
Look, one of the biggest challenges for a business owner is the philosophy of no one can do it as good as me.
I don't believe that, but
however, you just made a statement about how do you hire someone that's not me. So when you think about that simple fact of hiring people, I always think about it this way. Not only can I hire someone that's as good at it as me, I can probably find someone who's twice as good at it as me. Because the reality of it is, if it's all they do and it's their thing, like your thing is accounting, right? Your thing isn't networking. Your thing is accounting.
I love networking. I love networking.
Great. So what if you could find
someone
someone to hire that was as good or better than you at networking? Have you ever been to a networking function where you met someone and went, wow, they are very good at chatting with people. Wow, they're amazing at getting to know people. So were they as good as you or better than you, some of those people?
Better.
Right. And so if they worked for you.
How do you do it though, where they work for me and have the full knowledge of what I know as well?
They don't need the full knowledge of what you know. You need that when you go and sit with them and talk with the potential prospect.
Yeah.
but they don't need that level of knowledge to be able to get someone excited about finding an accounting firm that's fun and enjoyable and that sort of thing. So, you know, it is, if I can, there was a great kids movie that's a big lesson for parents, and it's a massive lesson for business owners. It's called Frozen. The theme song was called Let It Go. You know, one of the hardest things.
I watch this every day, by the way.
Yeah, as my kids did as well. I think it was 3 or 4 times a day. But the point I'm trying to get you to is this. If we can get it to a point where you understand that there are people out there that are as good or better than you at every job in the world, even accounting, there'll be people that are better than you at doing that. Even whatever it is, there'll be people that are better than you. I go back to the famous quote attributed to Henry Ford. I'm not sure if he actually said it, but it was, you know, the smartest person in the room is the one who hires people smarter than themselves. And it's a psychological challenge as the owner to get over the fact that maybe there is someone better than me at doing this stuff. But that's where we need to get to. So, you know, if I look at scaling your business, the first thing I look at is, if I had someone full-time, I could have someone full-time doing networking, then they need to bring in X number of people to pay their own way type thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And that's step one. So your conversion at present is around 100%, obviously.
Not far. Yeah, not far. Because by the time they sit down in the meeting, they've already bought before they come in the door now. But that's only because of the sales process that we've put in place. Before it was nowhere near that really. There was a lot of wasted time and effort. But I think now, by the time they actually come to sit down and have that final discussion about, let's put the contracts on the table, let's talk about what you're going to get for this monthly package, then yeah, they've pretty much already made the decision in their mind themselves.
Yep. So let's go back a step. What you're basically saying there is that you pre-sell them before they even come to the meeting. The information you send them means they're sold before you even sit down.
Sure.
And that's, and I'm great that your coach James has gone through that all with you, because I think that that's a really important aspect of it. What did you have to shift to make the sales become real? Because you're an accountant, you're not naturally a salesperson. How did you have to shift, or what did you have to shift? Or was it just the process shifting?
It was more the process. I think I needed to understand the process in full, really, because when I looked at my sales process compared to other people's, in particular James, mine had 2 stages, his had 9. And I thought, oh, wow, that's really cool. I bet I can adopt loads of those different things and put in these funnels to minimize the amount of people that are really coming through the door and actually get to the point where I choose who comes through the door. So now it isn't that we're all over the place constantly looking. Actually, more so now, people come looking for us because we're in that position where it's an elite, it's an honor now to come and speak to us in that sense because we're so sought after. So it's amazing. I mean, it's a whole mindset change as well, I think. Not just on paper. It's got to be that your mind has got to be fully open and aware of what opportunities are out there. And if you use some tools and systems and put things in place, that you can really, really go for it and really start achieving things.
Yeah. I think that the biggest challenge for a lot of people in sales is that they don't realize that it is a logical process. The customer needs to be informed of A, B, C, D, and E, whatever those 5 or 6 things are, in order to make a purchase decision. They're not going to make a purchase decision without that information. In fact, it's impossible for them to make a purchase decision without that information. And if you don't prepare them, well, you get the objections, you get all of those things. And so that preparation, and that's where, so the ones you don't get, what are the 1 or 2 objections you get for the 1 or 2 you don't get?
They feel happy where they are at the moment, even though there's some dissatisfaction with that client. They won't swap over because of price. So I see it as, if they can't see the value of what we're proposing to them, then they really, I'm not too worried about losing them really. They weren't here to begin with anyway. So
okay, I'm going to fix that one first.
Go on.
So you've got two there that you've mentioned, happy where they are and price. They don't see the value. Okay. So how often would you get those two? Are they the two most given to you?
Yes.
Okay. So when we talk about happy where we are, all right, let's think about that just for a second. How many questions in your process ask them about their current accountant or their current way of doing their accounts?
We send them a questionnaire now. So once we've kind of got past whether it be networking or a client referral, networking referral or something, some initial first discussion. After that first discussion, before they get invited to a meeting, we then send them a questionnaire, which includes a question about the previous accountant. So
tell me those questions. Do you happen to know those questions off the top of your head, or could you pull those up for me?
I can just pull
because
them.
the wording and the languaging of those questions is going to help them realize before they even come to you. See, I don't want them coming to you and then you having to tell them that. I want them to be thinking in their own head about the 5 or 6 reasons why they hate their current accountant or they don't like them and they want to leave them immediately.
Sure, it builds some dissatisfaction, I suppose. So,
so what would be because remember this, people change more for getting away from a negative than they do going towards a positive.
People change, more, getting away.
So that negative is a bigger driver than the positive or the goals that they want. So what's those questions? Can you read them out for me?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, just.
You're right.
So. There we go. Okay, so it's got client information, whether you're that registered, limited, self-employed, what sort of industry you in your franchise, what's your annual turnover,
what's the ones about their current accountant?
It's very, very brief to be fair. It is, have you worked with an accountant, and if so, what's the practice name? And it hasn't got anything else in that questionnaire as such about that accountant.
Okay. So I would put in 2 or 3 questions in there. Similar. Now, I haven't thought this through, so I want you to think about this before you add them in exactly. But the first one would be something along the lines of, what is it that you like about working with your current accountant? Then the next one would be, what is it you dislike about your current accountant? And then the third one would be, why is it you want to leave your current accountant and come work? Why is it that you are wanting to leave them? Why are you looking for a new accountant?
Okay, that's really cool.
So that way they're coming to you and giving you the ammunition that you need to be able to make that sale. Now, during the process though, you need to ask them a bit more about that and get to it. Now, here's where it's going to be the clincher. You need to ask them enough questions whereby they actually say something along the lines of, it's costing me this much money a year to not have that information. My accountant not providing me with that is losing me. I'm spending too much. I'm paying too much taxation because of that. You've got to ask them a few questions and say, well, hang on. Like if I was asking you the question, so, well, hang on, Jenny. So by not having that information, do you think that's costing you money each month?
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, it makes sense. And they would answer yes, of course.
How much do you think it's costing you?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's costing me at least a couple £100 a month.
Sure.
Well, there, we paid for our fee right there. Just by doing that, we're going to have our fee covered right there. Wow. See, do you remember the formula for change? Has James gone over that with you?
Yes.
You've got to create that dissatisfaction if you want them to shift. Okay. So second one, what was the second major one? The price one.
The price.
Okay. In my mind, your price is too cheap. So I'm intrigued that you're getting price objections. So tell me, how does the price objection that they don't see value for money, how do they actually language it? What's their way of putting that?
We don't pay that at the moment. I'm not sure if I can afford that, because our target market is small businesses at the moment, because that's where I see that it really, really benefits those people, those individuals.
Okay, so tell me, what's the bottom price point for you and what's the top price point for you?
Bottom price that we'll go to is £100.
Okay, and what's the top price?
It really depends on what the client's taking. So, I mean, it can go anything up to probably about £850.
Okay. I want you to invent the 2,000 a month package.
Okay.
Not because anyone will buy it, but because if you've got a 2,000 a month package, guess what 500 a month feels like?
Really cheap. Yeah.
Correct.
It's really cheap to them. Okay.
Correct. So
Very
currently, because 850 is the highest, 100, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Very smart.
Okay, so let's start by inventing that package. Now, you may sell a few of them. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? And then once you've sold a few, I want you to invent the 5,000 a month package, all right?
Okay.
So not sure what that looks like, but there's a whole other thing. In fact, one of my other companies you should take a look at, Profit Plus. They have a whole virtual CFO side of the business that you can license. You can be a licensee of that and do a whole virtual CFO thing. That's really cool as well. And there you can get 5,000 a month.
Absolutely, yeah.
So take a look at that one. But flip that over just for a second. The small businesses that you're going to, when do they find out the price points?
Immediately. So I position from the very beginning. So I position.
Hang on. Immediately in the meeting or immediately in the sales process?
In the sales process. So before they get invited to the meeting. So they know before they sit down with me what the price brackets are.
Do they know, like, do they see a document that says, here's this package, here's this package, here's this package?
No, not yet. However, the website is in mid-build at the moment to start reflecting that information as well. So I can put that visually out there. But we do have that conversation. So it's generally either in person or via phone. Okay.
Again, I would put that into a simple one-page document that lists off your, whatever you call it. Do you have levels that when you're selling this? So what do you call your levels?
Well, you could look at it as a large limited, small limited, sole trader, or your construction workers have a different package again. So there's quite a few. And then whether you want to add VAT onto it, or payroll onto it, or expenses onto it. So
again, when you do that, I would just have the payroll and expenses as the next level program. So it's included, like at the platinum level, you get that included. Like at the 2,000 a month level, that's included. At the 1,000 a month, this is included. At the 500 a month, this is included.
Okay, yeah,
and at the 250 a month, this is included. And then for the construction workers at 150 a month, this is what it is. You know, so position it in that way that you step up and you get more included as you step up, sort of thing, and you decide which level you want us to participate with you. But again, if people have that information prior to the meeting, there's no surprise when you sit down with them and that sort of thing. It's no, oh, gee, I didn't think it was going to be that much, or oh, I don't spend that much now. Then we've got to deal with them seeing value in this whole thing. And that part of that will be the discussion of, you know, how much is it costing you to not have this?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of the cases, even for us as business coaches, a lot of the reason people buy from us is that we sit down and we say, well, hang on, how much are you losing per week by not having your salespeople trained? How much are you losing per week by not doing the right marketing? How much is it costing? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So having that negative conversation is very, very powerful. Now, flip it over. If I'm not seeing the value, it means during the sales process. How often would you get someone who doesn't see the value? 1 in 10, 1 in 5? What's the?
Yeah, maybe, I think maybe higher, maybe 1 in 20 perhaps.
Okay, so it's not a real big problem, but it's a problem because it's 5%. It's 5% conversion rate difference if we fix it. Okay, so if you think of what a 5% conversion rate difference would mean to you, how much would that add to the bottom line each year?
Sure.
Okay. Which type of customer is it that's not seeing the value? What shape? What size? What is the similarity between them all?
Shop owners, I would say more so.
Retail stores?
Retail, yeah. So
okay.
There's quite a few of them that don't see it. And again, somewhat it's their mindset as well. So I always go in thinking, I want to show them, instead of telling them, I show them. So we've started putting some demonstrations together and we can take examples down with those of demo data and things like that. I'll put things in front of them, say, this is what comes with this package. So this is what you will get, as long with
okay. So average shop owner, how confused are they by the end of your presentation?
Never, because I never fill them with jargon. I never speak in any sort of jargon. I only show them or tell them what I think is relevant to them as well. I never ever have a confused conversation.
So here's the thing. Why are they meeting with you?
Because there must be some dissatisfaction already there.
Okay. So you're showing them all this information. Do you know why they meet with you before you show them that information?
Not always.
Because the thing about it is, if I'm meeting with you because I want payroll and you're showing me all this other stuff and I'm like, but I don't want all that other stuff. I just want you to help me with my payroll.
Sure.
And that's a part of it. But if it's shop owners in particular, then we've got to look at what are the similarities with them that we're not hitting on. What is the thing? What is their dissatisfaction point? What's their goal that we can hit on more? See, what if you could show them how to raise their prices on certain items that would allow them to make more money?
Sure. Then
what if you could find where the profit was for them in their business and help them sell more of the most profitable segments of the business? What if you could show them how to reduce their stock turn and have less information, less money tied up in inventory and these sorts of things? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
While it's not jargon, it is very clear for them because, again, they're struggling to make money. You know, and if I was asking them questions like, well, what's your average inventory length? What would happen if we could halve the average length of the inventory and reduce and increase your stock turn? And what would happen if, and what would happen if?
Cash injections, yeah.
Correct. And just asking them those sorts of questions where they see that you're not the average accountant. One of the things that I've always said in sales is that you've got to get them saying it to you rather than you saying it to them. So I always play a simple trick in sales. What are the 5 things I want them to say to me? See, for you, it'd be, wow, if I worked with you, you would save me a lot of money.
Sure.
Or, gee, you seem like you would make me a lot of money by being my accountant. Like, I play the game where it's like, I want them to say those 2 things at a minimum. If they've said those 2 things to me, then I'm at least off to a good starting point.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
And maybe come up with 2 or 3 more that are your game of, I want these shop owners to say that sort of thing. Now, the other thing that I will say is this. Is there a chance that your marketing doesn't show many retail stores?
Yes, at the moment. Again, it's going through the website. Will be done in about 2 months' time. So we're looking at completely doing a marketing targeted campaign to different sectors, different levels of people.
Excellent. Perfect.
Put packages together for them specific sectors. Yeah.
Sometimes when people don't see that they fit your target audience, if they see the pictures in your brochure don't suit them, if they don't see a retail testimonial or that sort of thing. Now, that's the third part of this conversation. How many testimonials do you have from other customers right now?
Majority of our clients give us testimonials.
Video or written?
Written at the moment. However, I know videos up there at the moment. So
great, because here's the thing. I wouldn't mind if you had 2 or 3 testimonials for each type of business or each type of business person or each type of thing that are video, that before they come and meet with you, you send them those videos.
Okay, yeah.
And one of your clients might just happen to say, you know, I thought it was going to cost me so much and I didn't really think I could afford to work with them. But Jenny and the team have made me so much more money. It would have been crazy not to sign with them as my accountants. Like, overcome the objections before you get them. Have your testimonials. And they'll be true because a lot of these people, that's exactly what's happened for them, but you want it in your testimonials.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it is the truth. It is absolutely the truth. So I think we have a star client actually or a couple actually that would be able to happily do these testimonials for us. So
get your camera out, just get your phone out, record the videos. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. The best way you can do it is with your camera, with them standing in front of their business.
Okay. Yes. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's just them standing in front of their sign or in their office, in front of their thing. You know what I mean? It's that sort of a thing. And that the more real it is, the better it comes across to a lot of people. Okay. And all you have to do then is put them up in your blog or put them on your social media, and you can share them from your social media to the prospective customers.
Perfect. It sounds really good. Absolutely.
And a lot of the times, the way you can position it on your social media is huge congratulations to Mary and Bob. They've done an amazing job of growing their business in this last year. We're so proud of everything they've done. And then the testimonial video. That way it's like the humble brag. It's like, you know, we're congratulating our clients for being such amazing clients. And then they congratulate you for being such an amazing accountant that helped them achieve those.
Sure.
Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. So sales we've touched on. Now let's look at the recruiting side of what we're doing and making sure. Interestingly enough, in your business, you're going to need to start being fairly proactive in recruiting. You're going to need to start joining LinkedIn groups for accountants. Or creating them even in your area and saying, okay, you know what, this is the, where you're in Atherton. So you'd create what's the bigger area around you?
Wigan.
So you'd create the Wigan accountants, best accountants in, that sort of thing on LinkedIn and on Facebook.
Yeah.
You create that group so that people want to join that group. And if you're fairly active in there, then people start to see you and they start to go, wow, I'd like to work for Aspire. I think I'd like to be a part of that organization. That would be fantastic to work for them. And I think that is the sort of reputation you want to build. So you start writing articles. Start thinking in your social media, not just in terms of acquiring clients, but acquiring great team members.
Absolutely, yeah.
Start entering awards for best place to work. Start thinking of, and entering awards is very important, even just business awards, both for getting customers, but also for getting future employees, because the best people want to work at the best companies. So that's always an aspect of it.
That's really cool, yeah. That's a really good idea, actually. I think that.
Yeah, even simple things like doing videos that are educational for young accountants type thing. You know, that's just even telling your story, sharing your story, being interviewed yourself on podcasts. Even what we're doing today is something that will allow you to, you know, consistently put messages out there that give people the understanding of the quality and the caliber of business that you run and that you're building. So when you look at, if I go back to the very basics, your vision, your mission statement, all of these things, your culture document, these things are fairly strong. Do you lead with that in your recruiting or do you lead with the job?
No, absolutely not. No, we lead with the culture statement of Aspire because I think that's absolutely key, because somebody has to come in and be able to adapt and fit to that culture statement and bring some of the personality inside with them. And I think it's absolutely really important to make sure that we find somebody that fits with our team, not just in skills or qualifications, but in the mindset, their ability to learn, their approachability, the ambition and drive to go forward and make things actually happen. And they must be fun. They must be fun.
Must be fun. That's a definite part of it. You know, it's crazy to sit down because, you know, when I went through accounting school, it was like most of the people were definitely not fun. They were quite boring.
I don't introduce myself as an accountant ever because people would actually never guess that that's my job. So they would never ever think that the career is accountancy or the practice is that. So I wait till near the end of the conversation. And then they say, actually, okay, you can save like all this money. You talk about all this. What do you do? Like, oh, I'm your friendly accountant. No way.
It's exactly the way it should be. It's exactly the way it should be. It's funny how people, when they meet in a networking environment, lead with their, not the benefits of what they do, but they lead with the actual title of what they do, and then they worry about it. Like I teach my action coaches exactly the same. They say, what do? I help business owners work less and make more money. And they're like, oh, really? How do you do that? Well, I work with you on a weekly basis to find all of the best things and blah, blah, blah. You know, that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
So let's think about recruiting. Why should someone come and work for you? What's the biggest thing? Why would I want to work for you guys? Because here's what I want to see by the end of the year. I want to see by the end of the year, people sending you their resume just out of the blue because they see a great place to come to work. How do we get to that?
So to get to that, we're looking at putting new study packages in place, a new commission and bonus and profit share in place, employee benefits in place. We're flexible on working hours. We give good holidays. We have a pension structure in place.
Okay, so hang on. Let's go back a step. You're listing off all of you're doing the exact opposite in recruiting of what you've done with your accounting.
Right, sorry.
You're selling the information and the facts rather than the benefits of coming to work for you. So why do I come work for you? You're going to love coming to work.
Yeah.
You're going to love coming to work. You're going to love the work we do with customers. You're going to get fulfillment and self and job satisfaction. You're going to have fun when you work in this place.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So, it's true. It is. It's really true. We make it really, really fun here. It is really, really fun. And people love coming here. Clients love coming here for the meeting so that they can have a bit of a laugh as well and relax and find out how the business is doing. And everyone takes massive pride in what they're doing here because
great. So these are the things. Are you an accountant that wants to take pride in your work and have super fun all day, every day? If you're that type of accountant, then we want you to come join us. If you're the type of accountant that laughs through the day and enjoys meeting your clients and helps them, see, you've always got to think about it in that way.
Sure, yeah,
as to
how to best cause it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so you're turning it from hiring into recruiting. Recruiting is about finding the best of the best. They probably work for another accounting firm. They probably already have a job. So this is why then, once you've got this thought in your head of who it is you want to hire, what is the job they're going to do? And the third part of that is not just who and what, but what will it look like when they're successful? If they join your team and they're a success, they'll hit these numbers, they'll achieve these things. This is the way it will feel when they're at work. Does that make sense?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So I would start thinking in your business plan now, how many clients per new accountant?
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
So if you're bringing on 5 a month, right?
Sure.
How many months before you need another one?
How many months before I need?
Or you need another accountant?
I see. Not long.
So approximately how many clients per accountant?
How many clients per accountant? Okay. How many clients per accountant?
Yeah, you don't have to have the exact answer now. Let's just say it's 50.
30. Well, yeah, 30.
Let's say it's somewhere between 30 and 50. So let's rest on 40, right?
Okay.
So that means you need a new accountant every 4 months at your current hit rate.
Right. So that would be that's 20 clients, 4 months.
Yep.
8
And
months.
I'll tell you why. Because here's what's going to happen. Every second one will stay.
Why?
Why? Because that's just the way business works. People come and people go.
No, they don't leave us because it's so much fun.
You know what? That is true from they love working here thing, but life happens.
Sure.
Someone in their family gets sick and they have to move back to take care of their mom. Something, you know, and I have it happen. I remember when my first staff member ever left me, I was devastated. It was like, why are they leaving me? What did I do wrong? And then I realized, hang on, that's just life. It's the way life works. You get them for 3 to 5 years. If it's more than that, fantastic. You know, I've got a lot of my people been with me 15, 20 years, but then there's others that turn over pretty quick. But here's the thing, right? You need to be proactive in thinking about your recruiting. So you need to be now thinking, because how many days from when you start recruiting do you think they're going to need before they're actually on board and actually able to do their work? It's at least 90 days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
So just be thinking 90 days out. Your business plan almost needs that calendar of I'm going to need to employ in these dates. Okay.
Well, that means it's next month then, because we're planning
Absolutely.
to do. So, yeah, and they do need 90 days. You're right.
Because here's the last thing you want. Here's the last thing you want. To have to slow down your marketing because you don't have an employee on board to deliver.
Sure,
if you have to slow down your marketing to get someone on board to deliver, that's crazy. So be proactive in thinking about it, run your cash flows, know when you can recruit and all that sort of stuff, but always have them on board ready to do an intake. Now, here's the thing. If you're bringing a new accountant on board, then you know the week or the month before that, you do double the amount of networking.
Yeah, ready.
That month, you bring in double the number of new customers to load them up in their first month type thing.
Sure.
Or the other way to do it is your existing team start taking the £1,000 and £2,000 a month clients, and the new ones get all the 150s and 250s type thing. So you can load them up with the smalls.
Sure.
And your more senior people move up and get the higher rated, better, bigger clients. Okay. So last thing I want to cover off on today, how do you upgrade your clients currently from the 100 a month to 200 a month to 500 a month to 1,000 a month? How do you do that currently?
Working with them. So the more that they're successful, the more successful the partnership becomes and the working relationship. So the workload goes up, we speak to them, we do have contracts in place. Yeah, they work hand in hand with us. So really, we've never had an issue increasing prices, but I'm sure you're going to tell me something amazing now.
Okay, so how many of your current customers should have increased that have not?
Maybe 50%.
Okay, so you've never had a problem with it. The reason you've never had a problem with it is you're not doing it with the people that you should be doing it with.
Perhaps.
So what is your plan to get that 50% of customers, to identify them? And it might only be 20% when you go back to it. It might be 40%. It might be 80. You never know. So when you sit down with them and say, okay, or when you sit down and look at each client individually and say, okay, should they still be at this level or should we have increased them?
I understand that. I suppose this is part of the reason when I go back to the beginning of our discussion of why I started in this business, is to help small businesses. So
great. So who's the first small business you need to help?
Me. I was.
All right. Okay, good. So let's help that one first today. All right. Now here's the other thing. If you don't increase them in the amount of service they get from you, you can't help them more. By raising them up, you're actually doing them a favor, not a disservice. By raising up the amount you're billing them, you're actually doing more with them. Therefore, they're getting bigger faster.
Sure. Yeah.
You've got to have that mindset, because if you don't have that mindset that as you build them more, they grow faster. It's pretty simple that way, because you're doing more with them. You're finding more opportunities for them. You're helping them locate more savings. You're helping them locate more price increases even.
Sure.
So this conversation I'm having with you about raising the customers up, if you maybe as their accountant should be having that conversation with them. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, and which is what we do. We do. We tell them to raise the prices all the time.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
so how often do you do a session, an accounting session with Aspire Accounts?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question, that.
Great. So as your own accountant, sit down and look at your own numbers and do it exactly objectively as if you were a client of yours, and do it that way. But what I'm seeing though is that I see, based on your numbers, you're not upgrading enough of your clients. So therefore, once they're on a level, they just stay on that level. No, they've got to continuously upgrade. And maybe it's a good thing to sit with James and have a conversation about, okay, we've got to come up with an upgrade system. Sure. So that we can process these people moving up to the next level and the next level and the next level.
It's really amazing how Aspire is growing. I have to say, in the small time that it's been living, it's grown and grown and grown, and it wouldn't have if it wasn't for Denise who works here, and also the clients that come on board who love it, who love meeting us regularly, who love the work that we deliver and everything. So, and everyone around us, all the support team, James and everybody. So it's just, it grows so fast sometimes you kind of, you're falling over yourself coming backwards, I think. So sometimes it's a little scary, exciting, scary at the same time. So nothing that we can't challenge, nothing that we can't go full on, head on. It's face the fear and do it anyway. So
excellent, excellent. Well, Jenny, you should be very, very proud of yourself for everything you're achieving in business. And, you know, I think that from one business owner to another, you got to congratulate yourself on three things. Number one, you're growing the business, which is phenomenal. But two, even more important, the work you do helps people. Yeah. And even three, probably most important, is you are creating jobs in a market that needs jobs. You're creating them, not just with your business, but with all of the clients you're helping. Yeah. So, you know, congratulations. I hope today you take away a few notes and maybe go back and rewatch this so that you can get a few more notes. And I'm sure James will watch it and pull a few things out of it for you too. But congratulations on everything you've done. Really great to have you on this 30X coaching call. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me today. It's been amazing. It's been really, really cool. Learned so much, made so many notes as well. And we're going to do some real shuffling up over the next few weeks now and get our recruitment process nailed.
Perfect. Thanks, Jenny.